Hey guys, I finally got a tripod. But you want to hear something funny? The tripod doesn't want to stay standing. Welcome to my year in review book version. You coming to say hi? Yeah, you gonna say hi? Say hello, everybody. He's a good boy. Okay, so I am going to be reviewing every book that I have read this year, and not as much as I wanted to because I started a lot of books and ended up not finishing them. But the first book I read this year was Frankenstein, but that was a school book, so I obviously don't have that book. That book was okay, not my favorite. It was a school book. Like, yeah. The second book was also a school book, but it was a children's book, and it was Le Petit Prince, or The Little Prince, for French class, and I actually really liked that book. It was really cute and really fun to do the projects for. Frankenstein, I'd give like a 5 out of 10, not my favorite, didn't hate it. Le Petit Prince, I would give a solid 8 out of 10. It was a really good book. But this was the first like joy book I read this year. Guys. Oh, little fair warning, I'm not gonna be like those cute like this book and then give like a full, no, like you guys are gonna know my whole opinion on this. So this is part of what's called a Meant to Be series, which is like Disney movies or like princess movies like reimagined. So this was based off of Cinderella, and I'm basically going to give you the shortest summary of the summary on the back. There's this girl named Cindy. Where is she? I don't remember where she lives, but she goes back home with her stepmother and her stepsisters, but they actually have a really good relationship. Cindy is also really into shoes. She's really into fashion, and she meets this guy on a plane, right? Love this man, okay? And then her aunt is like this Hollywood producer, and long story short, she goes on this dating show that's kind of like The Bachelorette, but not really The Bachelorette, but kind of like The Bachelorette. What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? Anyway, as a plus size girly reading a book about a plus size girly falling in love, so good. I need another book of this. Like, it was so good. I loved every moment of this. 9 out of 10. Yeah, 9 out of 10, because I don't want to give a 10 out of 10 yet. The next book I read was Mitch Albom, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. A little spotlight for the book. I got into Mitch Albom because I read Tuesdays with Maury for class junior year, and all of his books I have loved. Like, I have not hated a single book by Mitch Albom. This book is reliving a man's life after he's died, but he's reliving it with people that have impacted his life, kind of. So it was very much, it was a heavy read in the sense that it was a very serious topic and very like sentimental, and I'm glad I read it when I did because I was very much in the scope of change. I think I read it a little closer to graduation, but it was a really good book. I would give this a 8 out of 10, only because I wish it was a little longer. I'm trying not to do too long on each book, because this next book, guys, has me has me kicking my feet in the air, like, got me like, ah. Oh, guys. 700. How many is it? It's like 730 pages. And it is one whole, I think it's called the Merciless series. All 4 books in one book. And guys, this is forced proximity, enemies to lover, dark mafia, kidnapper, like romance. Very funny. Okay, like, my friend actually found this book. We went to Barnes & Noble and she like saw mafia bargain on the back and she said, oh, mafia trope. I read the first like 5 pages because I was in a Barnes & Noble. I felt very rushed in my Barnes & Noble. And I was like, that's it, you're coming home with me. So I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. I cried over this book. I got angry over this book. I took a month-long hiatus from this book because I moved into college, but this book, this will get the 10 out of 10, the 5 out of 5 stars. Like, I need another one because there's no way this is how these 2 characters series ends, but she has another series that goes with this story that apparently also has them in the background, so I'm gonna buy that immediately. The emotional attachment I grew to these characters was insane. Like, Arya, why did I feel like I was her? Never had the same experiences as her, but why did I feel like I was her? Carter, why did I feel like I've known this man for 82 million years of my entire life? The brothers, why do I feel like I live next door to them? Like, this will be in Willow Winters is another author that I will be reading her entire discography of eventually when I have money. 10 out of 10. The next book I read was another Mitch Albom book, but this one was called The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto. This book is about this, sorry, Nigel's distracting me, is about this orphan who throughout the story thinks he knows who he is, thinks he knows his backstory, thinks he knows the ins and outs of like where he came from. Turns out he doesn't, but you know, like the reader knows, but he doesn't. And you know, he's orphaned and he picks up this guitar and he goes through life with this same guitar from his childhood, and it's kind of a story that has a lot of hidden meanings in it, but it is a really good book. I had a lot of exams around this book, like when I was reading it. So when I came home for Thanksgiving break though, I think I read this, I want to say a week and a half, but watched my Goodreads say like a month. Like, I couldn't tell you. So good. Another Mitch Albom book. I'm gonna say an 8.5 out of 10. There were just some parts that I like didn't, there were some chapters that I just didn't like. Not that I didn't like how they were written, it was just like, there's always that one part in a movie where somebody's like, I didn't like that didn't need to be there. That's kind of how I felt about some of the chapters, or some of the chapters I was just confused about who was talking, how this related to the story. And if I remember the ending, I kind of didn't like the ending. Like, I liked it, but I didn't, you know. It was just kind of like, oh, that's how it ends type of thing. Nothing too dramatic. But yeah, I would give it an 8.5 because I did like it overall, but there are just some chapters that were like, which made it lose the 0.5 from a 9. This book I read in 2 days, and by 2 days I mean 2 nights. It's called Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. I don't know how to say his last name. I apologize. It is basically the gist of this whole entire book is no creative thought you have is essentially original, but it's also not stolen. It is inspired, it is picked on, it is critiqued and made into your own. And you know, when I really wanted to get into music, I got this book, and you know, I was end of middle school, beginning of high school, so I didn't really read it. And then now that I started the YouTube, I was like, let's read it. And the insight this gave me is insane. I started tabbing it when I read them last time, so I tabbed it all again, or I started writing down page numbers so that when I get really low, I can, like in my channel, or when I'm like, oh, this isn't growing, like this isn't doing well, like I can come back and look at it. This I kind of want to give an 11 out of 10 because it was a good read. It was inspirational, motivational, helpful, and it was a really light read. I think it's only like 120 pages, like my version of it, which I got on Amazon. But I'm definitely going to be reading more of his works because he was also a really great author, so that's why he's getting an 11 out of 10. So those are the books I have. This one, okay, I'm adding this one because I have like 2 chapters left, but by the time the new year hits, I won't be done with it. Just because sometimes I don't read at night. It is Paradise Island. I actually got this book when it first came out, and I think I started reading it about 3 separate times, but the first time I read it, I was going through a reading funk, so I only got to like chapter 8, and then I just forgot to finish it. The second time I read it, I got to chapter 10, and then I just, like, it was all like when I hit reading funks. But this book, I'm an avid subscriber of St. McColby. Every time they post, I'm like, let me get a good snack, a good drink, and we can watch this video. Hell Week came out, and my sister's like, we're watching it together, and I'm like, I'm gonna turn it right now. But it is a true story of a trip they took in 2019, I believe. No way, man is snoring. No way I bored this dog. Anyway, it's a true story, and it is kind of structured just like their videos, but it's a little bit more creepy in a way because it wasn't like edited and explained to the reader. It was just like, here's our experience. But I would say right now, I haven't finished it, so an unfinished review, I would say a 10 out of 10. Like, it's styled like how they would style it. It's giving us more details than they would in a video. It's kind of giving me like a fiction vibe because of the stuff that's happening to them, even though I know this is all non-fiction, which blows my mind. Oh my god, my advent calendar from 2 years ago. Hey. But yeah, this is a good read too. So I would say an unfinished review, a 9 out of 10, only because it's unfinished, which is my part. I don't want to give it a 10 out of 10 if I haven't finished it yet, you know? Like, what if I really don't like how it ends? Or what if something happens and I'm like, no way that happened? But yeah, there's also no way that was 14 whole minutes, because I felt like I blew through that. But my reading list for 2024 is currently at 18 books, which started with a list of books that I own. So I already have books in my head that I want to buy, so as soon as I get through most of my reading list, I'm putting myself back on a book buy. I have myself on book ban right now, which means I can't buy any books unless they're gifted to me. But I hope you enjoyed my book review. If this is like things you want to see more of, give me things you want to see me review and I'll do them. I have some videos planned for the future, so I hope you guys are ready for those. I hope you guys do enjoy this one. I'm still trying to find that time period or like that length that you guys are more attracted to, I would guess. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love and appreciate you all, and I will see you next week. Bye.